Hi guys, today's video is slightly different because I want to open up to you about something that I've been worried to share due to negative past experiences. 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with a condition called fibromyalgia, one that often flies under the radar, not only with the public but with doctors too. Motorsport has been a huge release for me and a massive thing on my step to recovery, and I want to share my story and help raise awareness so that other sufferers out there don't suffer in silence, so stay tuned. Rather than me waffling on trying to explain what fibromyalgia is, I'm going to let Harry, my physio from Injury and Sports Therapy, the professional, explain it for you.
Hey, my name's Harry. I'm owner and lead therapist at Injury and Sports Therapy. Today, Bex has asked me to just do a little bit of a talk on fibromyalgia. It's a condition she actually suffers from herself. And yeah, it's quite a common condition, actually. 2% of people worldwide suffer. It can display itself in lots of different ways, from brain fog, chronic muscle pain, joint pain, morning stiffness, fatigue. It most commonly, I think it's 80% of the time, affects women. It can take even 5 years up to get a correct diagnosis from GPs because of a lack of awareness amongst the population. So yeah, it's something that we deal with a lot actually in clinic, because people don't understand why they've got these pains, how they can help the pains, etc. So yeah, there's a lot unknown about it. In Bex's case, with her being a race car driver, she suffers primarily with muscle stiffness from the training regime that she has to keep up to stay fit. So simple things like sports massage, stretching, a strengthening regime can help complement what she's already doing in the gym, which can help offset a lot of the aches and pains she suffers from. So she does manage it really well, and it's always about management of this condition. If you push patients too hard, you can actually induce a flare-up. The other thing that we find really useful is identifying flare-ups. Certain things can trigger a fibro attack, so to speak. So high levels of stress and anxiety being the #1 cause I find in my clinic for people suffering with a fibro flare-up, And yeah, so ways that we can implement things to manage that can really help Bex. But yeah, she does remarkably well with it, and it doesn't hold her back when she gets in the car, that's for sure. And yeah, we'll continue to treat and help raise awareness for a tough condition. Thank you.
Like I said, it often flies under the radar, and even doctors are unsure. So I was suffering for a couple of years of going forwards and backwards to different doctors, nurses, different tests and scans, until one doctor finally recognised the symptoms. She then diagnosed me, and I went to see a specialist just to ensure her diagnosis was right. Both pre-diagnosis and also post, I've had negative experiences throughout. Mainly in the workplace, where people don't quite believe your symptoms because you look okay. One of the biggest things with invisible illnesses, whether that be diabetes or fibro, is a huge thing, because people don't think you're actually suffering just because we look okay. Even people closest to you, if you often say in pain or you're in a flare-up where your sensitivity is really high, they don't believe you, and that negative experience can put your mindset in a really bad place, which doesn't help with the pain and managing symptoms. I'm very lucky that now I am in an amazing environment with my parents and also those close around me that support me and have got me to where I am now. Over the last couple of years, I've learned how to manage my symptoms, which has been a huge relief. But motorsport has been such a massive part of that, because it's given me that escape and also that motivation to making sure I am looking after myself. Things like going to the gym and pushing through that pain boundary has been a huge help for me personally. And when I'm in that car, nothing else matters. Motorsport has also been a huge escape for a lot of people with disabilities, whether that be visible or invisible. Checkered Flag Motorsport has been a huge advocate for people like them, helping them get involved, whether that be partaking by driving or just watching things like F1, Red Bull factory tours. Here's those guys at the Red Bull factory giving a little bit more information.
Hello, my name is Gary Booth, founder of Chequered Flag Motorsport. Becca, driving Bex, has asked me to do a short video just to explain a little bit about myself and my organisation, Chequered Flag Motorsport. Chequered Flag Motorsport is a not-for-profit community interested company, which means it's like a charity but has certain operational differences. Although Chequered Flag Motorsport was only founded in June of 2020, so not that long ago. The actual journey of Chequered Flag Motorsport goes back over 25 years. 29 years ago this year, later on this year, I was unfortunate enough as a fit and healthy young man to suffer a hemorrhagic stroke. That was a stroke that left me completely paralysed down my left side, so unable to walk and unable to communicate. It was a long battle over 2 years to regain my fitness and health to a degree that you see in front of me today, where to the general person they probably wouldn't see me and recognise that I had had a stroke. However, in common with an awful lot of stroke survivors, one of the ongoing issues that I have and an awful lot of other people have is the neurological effects of that stroke and how that affects your daily life, particularly in terms of things like fatigue, for example. It's been a long battle for me to gain that recognition, and over the years trying to get back into employment I have been considered as lazy, idle, unintelligent and totally disinterested in employment, which is far from the situation and far from the case as it actually is. Having taken that on board, I wanted to start Chequered Flag Motorsport, and before I just say a little bit about what Chequered Flag Motorsport does and why it does it, as I say, one of the big issues that I've had and I know other people have had is the impact of fatigue, and that's totally different from normal tiredness. And one of the things I found talking with a lot of people over a period of years that I've suffered as a post-stroke survivor has been that the neurological effects, the fatigue if you like, doesn't just affect stroke survivors but affects a whole wide range of people who've suffered various neurological conditions. That could be, for example, people with autism, people with what's called fibromyalgia, people with ADHD, people with Parkinson's, and even amputees. And you might think, how does that affect an amputee? An amputee, even though they've lost a limb and have a physical disability that everybody can see, will suffer immensely with PTSD. Now what I've found is, rather than pigeonholing individuals as a result of their particular neurological condition, there is so much commonality between the impact that neurological condition has on people, whether you're an amputee, whether you're a stroke survivor, whether you're suffering with autism, that I wanted to take that and move that forward, move that awareness forward of these conditions and provide opportunities. One of the things I found as a stroke survivor, and that I know having spoken with others, is how common it is that once you introduce stress into the equation, that magnifies the symptoms that you're suffering from. So your fatigue will get worse, things like IBS will increase. So one of the things I wanted to do with Chequered Flag Motorsport was to introduce an environment where we could hopefully remove that stress from the equation by providing people with memorable experiences that gave them an adrenaline rush, that hopefully gave them some positivity in their life, that showed them that no wasn't the only answer. And that's what I tried to do with Chequered Flag Motorsport. Grasp the nettle yourself, you have to be the driver behind it. It's a question of, are you happy with how things are going in the condition that you have, and just to bumble along with life? Is one day going to be the same as the other, or are you going to draw a line in the sand and say, I now recognise I need to do something about this? Is this going to be your restart day? Is this going to be day one of the new you, where you actually take control of your own life and your own destiny and get the medical profession to do something about it? I know there are individuals out there who suffer with things like this, who are very, very scared and reluctant to acknowledge to the wider public, their social community, in particular their employer, that they have a condition like this, as to how it will be perceived by wider society, because wider society is not yet geared up to recognise and to accept things like fibromyalgia and the neurological impact that any other condition has. So that's where Chequered Flag Motorsport comes in, and we try, as I say, do motorsport themed events to hopefully remove stress from the equation and to provide memorable experiences for people. So we do things like track days at Thruxton, and we're very fortunate that we're here today, as you can probably see behind me. We're here today at Red Bull with a small group of people, giving them hopefully an unforgettable experience at Red Bull. I'm no medical expert, but if anybody is struggling or wants to talk, by all means I'm happy to talk with somebody. I haven't got the answers, but if you want to share your experiences, if you want some feedback, please get in touch. So once again, thanks to Bex for allowing me to introduce myself and my organisation. Please do get in touch if you're struggling. That's Gary Booth, the Chequered Flag Motorsport. Thank you very much.
Like I said, I've been concerned about sharing this with you guys over the past year because I didn't want it to go against me. I didn't want to be treated different, or even people think that I couldn't do it. Being a woman with limited finances, I've already had plenty of barriers to overcome to get onto that racing grid, and I didn't want that to be another one. However, now I've shared my voice, I don't want other people to suffer in silence, because mindset is a huge thing about getting you ready and going. So please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop me a message. I'm more than happy to help, because a problem shared is a problem halved. And please check out Chequered Flag Motorsport and support what they're doing to help get people with disabilities into motorsport for that little release and that escape from their illness. But the most important thing to come out of this video is fibromyalgia for me does not stop me racing. I am back on that grid at Snetterton very soon, and don't worry, this is not the end of it here. So for now, you guys know the drill. To make my journey your journey, like, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.